Hey guys, welcome to the channel. It is a bright Sunday morning, but today I'm going to show you how to do a dual battery system in your truck. Now, you do need to do the cowl induction snorkel mod, which I will put right here to make room for this battery if you have a brake booster. If not, there's other kits for you. So if you have a brake booster, this is more for you. But let me show you what we got. We have a voltage sensitive relay. This one doesn't come with the wiring, but I'll link one that does so you don't have to worry about it. But there it goes. So when your engine turns on and your alternator turns on and it's above 13.3 volts, this turns on and connects your batteries. And once it's off under 12.8, it cuts off, so they're disconnected when the engine is off. And I'm using a 24 DC because I have a 24F in the engine bay right now, so it's the same battery, so it just works out. Then we need a battery tray. And then we have to make a metal bracket to fit it in this spot here, which if you've done the cowl induction snorkel mod, you now have. So we're going to reuse these holes here from the brake booster, and then we have to make a metal bracket just like I have here to kind of support that corner. Okay guys, so here's what we have. We have a 1/8 inch thick steel plate, but we have it 9 1/8 inch wide, 12 3/8 inch long, and then these gaps here are 2.5 inches from the edge to fit in those brake booster studs. So we have to mount this, which we're just gonna line it up on here and then just pop through. Pretty simple. So we'll do that real quick. So we have our holes drilled, but we need to mount this up with the rest of our screws. When you're going to mount this up, remember to put this strap underneath, just like this, because it's something I forget to do pretty much every time I mess with it. So you have to run the strap underneath before you mount it. Just a heads up. Okay guys, we have it all mounted up. We got our strap in place. Just some bolts running through the bottom, up, and then some nuts on top, tighten it down. And then we're gonna go fit this in, see if it fits. So I lost the footage of me cutting and bending this, but this is a 1/8 inch thick piece of aluminum from Home Depot, and you want to bend this into this S shape and drill a hole in the middle of the bottom to mount it into the spot where your air intake is mounted, and I'll show you where right now. And then it's just going to bend and curve up into that spot that we showed previously, and it's going to support this corner of our bracket. We have it, as you can see, we're using these two studs to keep it locked in. It's pretty tight. It has a bit of a bounce to it just because this bolt here, which I wanted to use to mount right into that hole there, is too short. It's too short by about 1/4 inch. So I have to get a longer one. I don't know what thread pitch or count this is. I'll put it on the screen now once I figure it out and the length I need to mount this in one more location. And then it's pretty solid. Okay guys, so check that out. We have a 24 DC battery. We have a 24F battery. But this fits perfectly right in here. The hood shuts without an issue, but we have to wire up our voltage sensitive relay. So let me show you how to do that real quick. So this is completely dependent on how you want to run it. I'm using some more of that aluminum bracket right here. So I have one piece curving up and then one piece going over the top. So the bottom is exposed, but it's sealed with this gel to keep it waterproof. But it is still exposed, which I'm not a huge fan of. So what I did was I took a piece of wood and I ran the wires through it, and then I just seal it with this piece of wood. It works. It's not very pretty, but let me show you how it's done. So on this relay, it is very simple. You see it says positive start battery and then second battery positive. So all we're doing is just taking a red positive from our, this is our starter. This is ran underneath here. Pops out right here, and this just goes right into our starter. And then our secondary just goes right onto our secondary battery. So let me wire all this up with the GoPro so you can watch it firsthand. So let's go ahead and hook up our positive starting battery. This goes just like this. Tighten it down, make sure it's not too snug. It'll stop you for when it's tight enough. You just don't want to go over tighten it. Just like that. Okay, then we need to take our positive to the second battery. Locked on. I just like the extra protection of it, just in case, because it doesn't really hurt anything. At least as far as I know. Wood's not conductive, so I'm not really worried. Now you have a black and a yellow wire. Now this can be confusing for some because they're both technically a ground. So how this works is your black is your ground permanently. So let me get this mounted up here and I'll show you where I'm wiring these. Okay, so first off we want to ground our unit here. This needs to be grounded 24/7, so you want to take some sandpaper and just drill a hole, and then you want to just take some sandpaper and expose some bare metal, you know, just like this, nice and shiny. Then we're just going to take a bolt, run it through, nut on bottom, this way it doesn't affect anything up here. Now the yellow, this is to be grounded to connect your starter and your secondary battery. So let me hook up the batteries and I'll show you real quick. So we'll take our secondary battery cable. This should be much shorter if you're running it like I am. So hook up your secondary battery. So what I've done here is I've created an 8-gauge ground. I'll link 8-gauge wire if you want to use it. That's what I'm using for here and for here. It's just what I had on hand, so it's what I use. So we're just gonna ground it to the truck, which we just use these holes here, and we just use sandpaper to grind it down. Let's loosen this up. And then when you're using sockets or ratchets or wrenches, anything near a battery, you wanna be careful not to ever arc the post with your ratchet. So like if you're cranking down on this, you can see it overlap. So you wanna be really careful. Get yourself a composite ratchet because, you know, you can link these and nothing happens because it's not metal. So now that we have this hooked up, we're gonna connect our starter cable. So this one runs underneath here. You can just pop this up and just zip tie it off. It's very simple. So we're gonna connect this to our starter battery here. Let's go ahead and do this. Tighten this down. Perfect. Okay, so now your starter battery and your secondary battery are connected via your voltage sensitive relay. Now this yellow cable here, if you ground this wire, it will connect them without the engine being on. So here, listen. Hear that click? That's them connecting. And you can see that red light turn on. That's them connecting. So this yellow wire, when it touches ground, connects the battery. So you can wire in a switch just like this. This is, I think, a double pole single throw. I got this from Walmart, but you can wire this up and you can leave it right here. That way, you know, if your battery ever dies over there, you just pop your hood, flick the switch, this turns on, and you're good to go. I've actually done this before. I had to replace that battery, and I just flicked the switch, and that way I could just lock my car with the remote in the Walmart parking lot while I was getting a replacement versus manually locking all the doors and checking everything. So there you have it, guys. There's the dual battery system. I've ran it for over a year now, and it's actually been through one accident and stayed. So here's some pictures of that. My truck was hit, battery stayed in place, so I guess it works. I'd like to thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed. If you have any questions, leave it in the comment section below, and I'll do my best to answer. But until then, peace out.